You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
Pope Francis has died. The 88-year-old pontiff passed away just hours after he surprised many by addressing the Easter Sunday crowd at St. Peter's, even riding through the square in his famous Pope Mobile.
The World Economic Forum founder, Claus Schwab, has officially stepped down. What are the odds indeed that Claus Schwab would be stepping down on the same exact day that Pope Francis passed away at 88? Reading this article from Reuters, it goes on to say that the Geneva-based World Economic Forum made the announcement on Monday after revealing earlier this month that the 87-year-old Schwab, who for decades has been the face of the Davos get-together, would be stepping down without giving a firm timeline.
In the sky, there are 88 constellations. 88. And this gets back into Freemason and all of the lodges, the old lodges, especially in England. When you go into their temple, they have a black and white checkered floor. And for years, people finally complained about it. Mostly the old municipal buildings, all of them had black and white, the old VCT tile, black and white.
Post office, libraries, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. So in the Freemason temples now, and some of the nicer ones still up and everything, they have the black and white floor. Okay. Now in the garden, God told them you could partake of any tree, anything, whatever, but stay away from the tree of good and evil, black and white, call it whatever you want. Don't partake of that. You're not supposed to. So anyway, what the Freemasons said, and I told you earlier in this video, is they're building a temple the wrong way. They're trying to rebuild man, a transhuman. Okay. So anyway, going back to the piano, you've heard of as above, so below. Okay. Anything magic, David Copperfield will tell you, David Blaine will tell you, what is the formula and the basis for all of magic? It is as above, so below. At anything they do, that's what they're taught. That's what they know. If they're really good at magic. Okay. So in the sky are 88 constellation stars. On a checkerboard, in the checkerboard floor in the temple, there's 88 squares, black and white. Okay. As above, so below. The piano represents that as well. And it has to do with frequencies and it has to do with tones. There's some black, there's some white, but there are 88 total tones on the piano. And hang with me, as above, so below. Okay. Notice here's the whole thing. When you see Beyonce, when you see Rihanna or any music artist dancing on a checkerboard floor, you saw also Katy Perry at one of the Super Bowls dancing on a checkerboard floor. And then they'll come up and they'll do the eye. They'll do the eye or whatever. Here's their thing, what they're trying to tell you. The floor is the foundation, and they are building something on the wrong foundation of black and white, of good and evil. You're not supposed to. That's what it stands for. It's that floor and checkerboard, the pianos, as above, so below, tones, frequencies. Control it with tones and frequencies.
Well, things are getting pretty spicy now, aren't they? Do you guys remember the time I told you about a book called The Last President, where Donald Trump would be the last president? Well, it would appear that we've had the last pope. Or at least that's what the rumor is, because things are falling in line like I've never seen before, ever. The use of the number 88, the Pope dies at 88, Klaus Schwab steps down at 87, he's living in his 88th year on Earth. Do you see what I'm saying? The numerology, everything that was at the last Olympics that Nicholson just explained, and what Seconds of Horror is about to explain. Things are going to get crazy. They are doing this. They are doing all the magical incantations they need to do in order to bring on the New World Order. And meanwhile, don't forget this. Meanwhile, in order to do a magical ritual of this magnitude, you need to have constant human sacrifices. And that's where our fellas on the other side, over in the Middle East, They take care of that for us. They hold it down. You see what I'm saying? I can't say it here on this platform, but it will be on Richie from Boston TV, probably BitChute, and probably Rumble. So look for it there. Can't post everything here because what I'm going to show you is horrendous. Horrendous. They're not fighting a war. They're just simply erasing an entire people, men, women, and children. But on that, I'll digress. Back to Minutes of Horror. Seconds of Horror.
You
My
have
bad.
Pope Francis passed away at the tender age of 88. Now, I'm not going to go the whole quote-unquote conspiratorial route. People in their 70s, 80s, 90s, not really a surprise when they pass away. It's what they do, unfortunately. But you know what? Just because he passed away at the age of 88 and it's what older people do, doesn't mean we can't take a look at a few things that may seem a little suspicious. It doesn't really take that off the table. It is like when Peter Higgs, who the God particle is named after, just happened to pass away on April 8th, the day of the solar eclipse, when CERN fired off the Large Hadron Collider looking for dark matter. Yes, he's over 90, but again, what are the odds? Now, there are people out there that are really focused on the fact that he passed away a day after Easter, Easter Monday, talking about how big of a coincidence that happens to be, but he actually passed away on the day that Rome had been founded. Now, according to tradition, on April 21st, 753 BC, Romulus and his twin brother Remus found Rome on the site where they were suckled by a she-wolf as orphan infants. And if you really want to get technical, mythology states they founded Rome the year 753. Pope Francis just happened to pass away 7:35 in the morning. Where have we heard that name before, Romulus and Remus? They also just happen to be the names of the two direwolves that were supposedly brought back from extinction. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. I did another video on them before. Yes, they are gray wolves with their DNA or genes manipulated, but again, that's their names, Romulus and Remus. And it was announced right before Pope Francis passed away, 5 days before, Elon Musk named his most recent child Romulus. So what is up with the name of Romulus and Remus heavily focused in the news lately? And now we have Pope Francis passing away on the day in Roman mythology that Romulus and Remus had founded Rome. Which is rather interesting because we also see this name pop up in Hollywood too in the most recent Alien movie that had to do with forced pregnancy. The movie is called Alien Romulus. So was it some sort of sacrifice or a ritual that the Pope would pass away again on the day of Romulus and Remus? I mean, who really knows? The man is 88. Stop being silly.
Let me remind you of the important satanic holidays or their important seasons. Things like this. Good Friday, Day of Passion, Death of Christ. It's a blood sacrifice. It requires a human sacrifice. Easter Eve Day, blood, human sacrifice. And then, of course, you've got the 21st to the 26th, abduction, ceremonial preparation, and the holding of a sacrificial victim. Yeah, does that sound something like... I mean, we hear about this every single solitary April. Not that this entire year hasn't been non-stop, back-to-back, from day one, rituals, sacrifices, and every other thing going on in the United States, especially with the weather, things that just don't make any sense whatsoever at all. But here's the final straw. Here's the last man standing. They are going for the New World Order, and they're not going to stop because no one's stopping them. They're doing this right out in our faces, right out in the open. Everything we need to figure out what's going on is a mouse click away for the most part. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you're not seeing the connection between the two, let me read what Claus Schwab had to say. Following my recent announcement, and as I enter my 88th year, I've decided to step down from my position as chair and member of the Board of Trustees with immediate effect. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means that these guys are doing this, and they're just following all the steps, period, all the steps. And all the correlations that Seconds of Horror made are completely 100% valid. Everything ties in so well, it's insane. This is a massive ritual because they're taking on a massive undertaking. They're going to try to take control of the entire population of the world, killing off 75 to 80% of it and making us do the heavy lifting while they take control. And they've shown that they can take control, because every time you turn around, there's property tax, water tax, air tax, carbon tax. They're taxing everything on this earth that God gave us dominion over. All we were supposed to do was tend the garden, and we didn't.
With the Pope dying, I just want to share with you these coincidences. Easter, J.D. Vance, our vice president, visited the Pope.
Hello. How are you? Yeah, so good to see you. Thank you. Hello. So good to see you. God bless you. And good morning. How are you?
Find yourself.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Happy Easter to you, Father. Wonderful. I know you've not been feeling great, but it's good to see you in better health.
Grazie. Grazie Santo Padre.
Thank you.
These are for your children.
Okay, thank you.
These are the gifts. These are also gifts for you as well.
Thank you. It's
The
beautiful.
Vatican tie, and then the rosaries for your wife, the white for your children, and the red one is for the red.
Molta santità.
Thank you very much for your visit.
Of course. And thank you for seeing me. Pray for you every day. God bless you.
Io prego per lei ogni giorno, che Dio la benedica. Grazie Santo Padre.
Happy Easter.
The interesting thing about this is his visit came exactly 2,888 days after Donald Trump visited the Pope on May 24th, 2017. And when Donald Trump was there, he stood before the dragon. So the Pope dies this morning. He's 88 years old. 2,888 days after Trump visited and the vice president now visits, okay? And it was exactly 4,422 days prior that the Pope was selected to be the Pope. Now, when the Pope is selected, it's done in the Sistine Chapel, and they pray and prostrate themselves before the dragon. Now, I want you to look at this mural very carefully, because you are looking at an image of the dragon. Do you see it? Because it's real. So, our 88-year-old Pope dies 2888 days after Trump visits and stands before the dragon, leaving him a gift of a lotus flower, among many other things. Incidentally, Easter was Adolf Hitler's birthday, yesterday, the 20th, his 136th birthday, as a side note. And we are in the spring ritual season now, leading up to Beltane. Very interesting time here. Far too.
So you see what's happening here? This isn't coincidental. This all lines up because numerology is one of the most important things to these satanic ritual worshipping fruitcake freaks that run the entire world. And we have never seen so many different rituals with witches and warlocks, and it's just unbelievable. Understand and believe that this is coming to pass, and there is no stopping it. There is no stopping it. You tell me how we're going to stop this, because I can't figure it out. And I've spent the last 10 years of my life, my entire life, doing just this. Traveling the country and meeting with people that were going to do something about something, and nobody does anything because they're just too tied into the system. They're too dumbed down. They're too worn out. They're too low testosterone. They're too afraid. They've got their kids and their job and they're this and they're that. You know what I mean? And I get it. I praised God for making me single with no children during the event that occurred in 2019. Because unlike others, they didn't have any leverage over me. Well, if you don't get your kids squared away, they can't go, like I didn't have any of that. It was just, F you, I ain't doing it. And when I met with all the other guys that kept saying, F you, we're not doing it. Crickets, man. It's crazy. Absolutely and utterly crazy. So prepare yourselves. Be ready, because this is happening and it's speeding up. This is insane right now, in my opinion. What do I know?
far too many coincidences. And I find it interesting also that the Pope was chosen before the dragon on 3/13/2013, exactly 7 years before Donald Trump, the Commander-in-Chief, declares a national emergency for the COVID on 3/13/2020, driving the death knell into the United States of America.
Today I am officially declaring a national emergency. Two very big words.
And don't you find it interesting that the Commander-in-Chief is the exact title that some of these people who have signed a deal with the devil use to identify their Lord and Master, Satan?
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
We're going to make America great again. I've had no higher privilege in life than to serve as your commander-in-chief, not once but twice.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
I've had no higher privilege in life than to serve as your commander-in-chief, not once but twice.
With the chief commander.
As your commander-in-chief.
Chief commander.
Commander-in-chief.
Chief commander.
Commander-in-chief.
Chief commander. I made a bargain with it.
Be ready, people. Be ready. Read your Bible. Immerse yourself in the Word. And if you don't understand what to do, like I say every other time, hit your knees and ask God to give you guidance. Be careful of those Christians out there that were wishing you such a happy Easter, because they're not awake. And that's just all there is to it. They've been polluted by the Catholic Church. They've been following the Vicar of Christ, something that is not mentioned in the Bible ever. And as a matter of fact, Jesus says, let no man deceive you. He is the way, the truth, and the life. Richie from Boston. For now, I'm out.